5 times it's good to have a narcissist around. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. Some of you may immediately react to that title by thinking, balls to that, H.G., it's never good to have a narcissist around. You've always taught us that. Well, when it comes to a personal relationship with a narcissist, that's exactly right. Where you're involved with that narcissist, particularly in an intimate relationship or a familial one, it is often problematic. And as you know through my teachings, the most appropriate thing to do is to apply the principle of GOSO. You get out and you stay out. Once you know, you go. This is because the interaction with the narcissist on a personal level is only ever going to bring with it misery. Yes, there is the excitement, the wonderful period that is the golden period, when everything seems well in the world, that you're swept off your feet. But for however joyous and rapturous that period is, what comes to follow means it is never, ever worthwhile experiencing. The simple fact is that the good, even though it feels good, isn't genuine, and that in itself is problematic. But even if you were to put that to one side and just say, well, I'm not bothered whether it was genuine or not, it felt good to me, the fact is this is entirely outweighed by what will come by way of the sustained devaluation or an intimate partner secondary source being treated as second best repeatedly, being on the outside, being the other person. Even in friendships with narcissists, even though they may not have the scathing impact that happens with an intimate or familial relationship, the fact is you can never truly rely upon that narcissist friend and will often find them wanting when the chips are down. The fact is, a personal and intimate, friendly, familial, whatever it might be, but repeated interaction with the narcissist at that level is problematic, and that means that GOSO must be applied. But there are instances where having a narcissist around, having some form of involvement in your life, actually adds to it. This isn't me telling you now go out and find a narcissist to spend time with, of course not. But it is to recognize that there are instances where the narcissist will provide you with something which is useful to you, often in particularly telling and traumatic circumstances. That the narcissist actually brings something to the party and doesn't take away from it also. Your glorious narrator is an excellent example of that. For instance, you are all provided with excellent information about narcissism and psychopathy from me. Millions of people around the world have been helped by our information through blog articles and videos, through my books and in consultation. Lives have been saved. Lives have been improved. People have achieved freedom. They've got no downside because their interaction with me was purely professional. They have been entertained. They have been educated. And they have been freed. And thus they would say, H.G. Tudor helped me. H.G. Tudor added to my life. H.G. Tudor furnished me with information that I wouldn't have got anywhere else. And along the way, he made me laugh. There were times when I didn't like what he was, but I recognized the efficacy of what he was telling me. The fact is that arm's-length relationship with me is productive for you, because as a more evolved narcissist, I recognize the value of ensuring that those that interact with me, that treat me in a way of recognizing the value of my work and respectful, receive an appropriate response from me. That they are educated, that they are entertained, that they are helped, because it serves my purposes, as I've repeatedly told you, vis-a-vis the prime aims. And thus, I might be included in this list, but I decided against it, because of course, I'm entirely set apart as the ultra. And I decided that I would provide you with 5 instances of different categorizations of narcissists, where it's actually, on balance, good to have them around. Now, before I tell you what those categories are, I do recognize that you'll be able to always identify a narcissist in one of these fields who is problematic, that they let people down, that they cause harm. I'm not saying that every narcissist in these fields is always going to be great, is always going to be useful, is always going to be helpful. That would be preposterous. There are the bad apples. But what I am driving at is to point out that most of the time, and there are exceptions, but most of the time, the narcissists that you will deal with in these particular fields will actually be useful for you, that they will actually be good to have around. So with all of that said, have a think. Which 5 areas of life, which 5 genres, which 5 fields do you think it might be useful to have a narcissist around? Jot it down on a piece of paper. Pop it into your head mentally. Write it down on your phone, perhaps, and then see if you're right. Have a moment to think about it, and then see if you've got them right, and then you can say in the comments, and naturally, you're empaths, you're going to be honest, aren't you? Aren't you? In terms of explaining in the comments how many out of the 5 you got correct. So settle back and let's find out which 5 areas of life, which 5 genres it's good to have a narcissist around. Counting down from number 5, and these are in no particular order, we have the innovators. The big advantage that you have with the innovators is that the narcissists that operate within this field you don't have to deal with personally. These innovators, driven by their need to control a populace, create. They come up with fantastic ideas. They want to improve the human condition because it makes them look good. It enables them to assert control by people being interested in what they're doing, asking about their plans, asking about what innovations we can expect from them. They naturally receive fuel from all of the responses from millions, tens of millions, of hundreds of millions of people responding to the purchase of their products and commenting upon what they are doing. It enables them to access character traits and, of course, the residual benefits whereby many of these innovators are hugely wealthy individuals. They are famous. They are able to operate a facade also. That desire to pursue the prime aims is applied in a pro-social way. Yes, there will be some employees that will complain about how they've been treated. There'll be a competitor who has been shafted. But on balance, these individuals create, and their creations improve life. You may well be watching this video on a device that has been created by one of these narcissists. I know that as I'm talking to you, the machine that I'm utilizing, the computer that's recording this video, was the product of the innovative mind of a particular narcissist. These narcissists create apps which might entertain and amuse you, but moreover provide you with functionality. The narcissist may provide you with a new type of vehicle which you enjoy driving, that have placed satellites to improve internet access, that has engaged in space exploration, which is both fascinating and could prove to be a boon to humankind. Driven by that need to outgun and outmaneuver and outflank, these individuals are invariably industrious, applying the focus of feverish minds to achieve, of course, like any other narcissist, it's self-serving, but the ultimate product, the ultimate outcome, is of creating items that improve the life experience. They create jobs. They create wealth, not just for themselves, but in terms of creating companies through which people can buy stock and thus receive dividends. And then as the company grows, they can sell those shares and make a tidy profit. Taxes, they may not necessarily pay as much as they ought to do, but if they didn't exist, you'd be getting nothing. The taxes that are paid are useful for governments. And thus the innovative narcissist certainly does prove very useful to have around, because with that arm's length relationship that you have with them, you don't get to experience the downside, you only get to experience the upside of what they bring. Number 4, the lawyer. They might be ball-washing bastards, but when you find yourself in a tight spot, whether it's as a consequence of facing criminal charges or an unpleasant divorce scenario, involved in some form of litigation where you're being sued or you're looking to recover money or stand on your rights. Maybe it's where you're looking to do a particular deal and you need to ensure that you get the best outcome for it. Invariably, in such situations, you'll be guided to select a lawyer. There's a wide range of competence when it comes to our chums in the legal profession, whether it's an attorney, a solicitor, an advocate, a barrister, whatever name they have in your relevant jurisdiction. You will have varying experiences. But where you have a narcissist, and a competent and determined one in your corner, this proves a huge advantage within the field of law. This is because this individual needs to nullify the threats to control posed by the other person on the side of the deal, by your opponent, the claimant, the defendant, the plaintiff, the respondent, whatever it might be in the litigation. The fact that your case is essentially seen as the narcissist lawyer's case because you are an extension of them. And therefore, the win that is achieved for you is in fact the narcissist's win. It enables them to assert control over the opponent, both the opponent and the opponent's lawyer, over the judge. It enables them to utilize that information subject to your approval to advertise their services. It can, in certain instances, prove particularly financially lucrative for the lawyer and therefore is a residual benefit. Where they operate a facade, they can utilize that, particularly where they utilize a facade of superiority. I'm the best. I'm the one that you need to engage with. I'm the one that will win your case. The narcissist lawyer isn't beyond not only pushing the boundaries in your case, but also breaking them, and often doing so in a way that can prove entirely effective. Like some tenacious bulldog, they get hold of your case, clamp on with those sharpened teeth, and they won't let go. Not concerned with upsetting the judge or the opponent, they drive your case home with perseverance, with tenacity, and it's all because it serves their purposes. In effect, the narcissist lawyer becomes a hired gun, a Rottweiler that's utilized by you. Litigation and deal-making and other types of cases that you may find yourself involved in can be rather stressful, and particularly for those of an empathic bent, that you'd rather not deal with the conflict. Therefore, having somebody that will represent you, and represent you with a ferocious tenacity, will prove extremely useful. Driven by the need to win, driven by the need to receive fuel, driven by the need to control by getting that win for you, the narcissist lawyer can prove particularly effective, and therefore is number 4 in our list of narcissists that are good to be around. Number 3, the medic. In some ways, this position is similar to that of the lawyer. Both professionals, invariably highly educated, and dealing in situations where often the stakes are high. And when it comes to the situation involving the medic, the stakes are even higher, because it may well be a matter of life and death. The medic is there to alleviate pain, to remove suffering, to cure disease, to save lives, to bring people back from the brink of death, to ensure that they could perhaps recover from horrendous injuries. Once again, your recovery is the win of that narcissist medic, and they're damned if they're going to lose this patient nurse. Losing a patient would threaten their need for control, would dent their reputation, and therefore, driven by their narcissism, they pull out every available maneuver to ensure that you don't die, that you are cured, that you are healed. This appeals to being like God, that comes in and alleviates that pain and suffering. Yes, the facade of superiority is attained by virtue of the medic being the most effective doctor in the house. It enables the doctor to receive fuel. Think about those grateful relatives all around Papa as he's lying in a coma and the doctor explains, the surgery was successful, he will live. The outpouring of gratitude, the positive fuel, the sobs of relief, drinking all of that up, edifying, powerful. It would undoubtedly give a major hard-on to that medic, or a major wide-on. It enables character traits to be acquired from the people that are interacted with. And of course, in terms of residual benefits, it can be a most lucrative career. It enables the facade to be managed. It creates reputations. It enables that person to be seen as a pillar of the community as a consequence of what they do. Your child has cancer. This surgeon has cut it out and saved them. What a miracle worker. This disease looks like it's incurable. Not to this doctor. He might not be Dr. Beats, but this particular doctor, because he won't be beaten by this conundrum, applies every brain cell to ensure that he outwits it, because he must win, because he must need that control. Accordingly, having a narcissist surgeon, for instance, proves particularly important as they exhibit their need to win, and thus you are helped and you are saved. I've always explained that should I ever find myself in a critical situation, I would want a narcissist surgeon and an empath nurse. One to save me, the other to nurse me back to health. And it'd be lovely if she's easy on the eye also. But that's for another day. The fact is, the narcissist medic, most of the time, is a narcissist that it is good to have around for the reasons that I have explained. Number 2. The sports person. This individual may well engage in breathtaking moments of stunning ability that has the crowd on its feet, cheering. They are an individual that may well provide inspiration to people around the world to pursue their own sporting endeavour, to get fit, to want to achieve themselves. If they represent your particular team, be it at a club level or at a national level, the win brings about pride in that club, the bragging rights where you've won the local derby, national achievement at winning, for instance, something at the Olympics or the World Cup at football. The individual is someone that wishes to be the best, better than everybody else. This, of course, is part of a certain control over what could be a global audience, and the accompanying fuel that comes from that is enormous. You score that winning goal in front of a packed house of 70,000 people who are, for the most part, apart from the away fans who you've just scored against, are shouting and chanting your name. Thousands of tertiary sources pouring fuel in your direction. You might be a highly provocative narcissist that engages in shithousery. You want to wind up the opposition, both on the pitch and their fans. Accordingly, that enables you to drive yourself as that narcissist to try harder, to run faster, to put the effort in. You want to be number 1 on that podium, not 2, not 3. Silver, bronze, who wants that? It's got to be gold. And therefore, months of preparation go into achieving that goal. The fact is, you are not only entertained, but you're inspired by watching these people. It matters to you for your team to have done well. Just look at how popular sport is around the globe, whether it's football or soccer to our transatlantic cousins, baseball, basketball, cricket, rugby, motocross, whatever it might be. Sport provides an outlet for many people either to get involved in it themselves or to enjoy watching it. And to see somebody at the peak of their game is truly an inspirational and breathtaking experience for many. Accordingly, again, an arm's length relationship with that narcissist sports person is a rewarding one. You get to see them achieve things which take your breath away. You get to see them achieve things which make you feel proud because of your association with them. You are interested in why they've done what they've done, how they go about it, the training, the nutrition, the drive. You read their autobiography, which you find fascinating. Furthermore, these sports people become industries in themselves, employing a whole range of people behind them with job creation and wealth generation. Being involved with that sports person narcissist, again, is an arm's length relationship which brings huge benefits because they want to win, because it enables them to assert control and to draw fuel, and therefore that means that you get to witness somebody who is at the peak of their powers. Our final narcissist that it's generally good to be around is the entertainer. Whether they're a pop star, a rock star, an author, a playwright, a comedian, a clown, an acrobat, somebody who's juggling, whatever the form of entertainment might take, it is simply you are entertained. It provides you with a distraction from the more mundane aspects, the difficult aspects of life. For a moment, you're transported to another world. You're able to leap up and down and sing along to your favourite songs. You're able to watch your favourite actor or actress in an interesting or inspirational film. You're given food for thought as a consequence of what the author has written. You are devouring a whole series of books generated by this person, which transports you to new places. You enjoy the performance, the thought-provoking nature of a particular play. You get to laugh your tits off as a consequence of a comedian that really hits your funny bone. Again, narcissists are, for the most part, born entertainers as a consequence of the strong traits of pride, vanity, and in particular showcasing. Whilst there are plenty of non-narcissists who are excellent entertainers, it is the narcissist that is particularly attuned to being the entertainer. Being on that stage, strutting their stuff in front of tens of thousands of adoring fans is absolute manna from heaven for the narcissist. Being an entertainer allows the assertion of control to millions globally. It allows vast amounts of fuel to be sucked in. It allows character traits to be obtained as a consequence of the exposure to so many different people. And naturally, as always, the residual benefit of money. Huge amounts of money can be made as an entertainer, whether it's on screen, whether it's in person, whether it's the written word. The entertainer gets the satisfaction of those adoring fans, knowing, I made this happen. I caused them to respond in this way. The ability to entertain, to uplift people, to bring joy into their world proves entirely satisfying. To be able to do a call and response with tens of thousands of people who are at your control is just what the narcissist requires. The narcissist has been shaped to entertain because of those that particularly show off, that they need the crowd, that they need the audience, and this drives them to deliver pitch-perfect renditions of the brilliant songs that entertain you, that they pull out all of the stops in an Oscar-worthy performance in a film, that they stun the audience with their portrayal of a particular individual when treading the boards. The narcissism drives them to be the best, to excel, to deliver, and thus you are not left disappointed, but rather thrilled, excited, uplifted, overjoyed. Life seems better as a consequence of involvement with this particular person, and once again demonstrates that there are instances where it is good to have a narcissist around. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.